10,000 champs just because there's teams that have been named. Um, so I want to talk about that. The and also we just got our predictions crazy wrong. At least I did. Let's start with the men. Klecker, this thing was crazy tactical, like so slow from the get go. And we talked about the weather being great. It was very conducive to fast performances, but they didn't go. There was a couple people making. It was one of those races where there was a whole bunch of people in it down the final stretch. There was a lot of guys who had a kicker's chance to win this. But there were two races that were going on with 100 to go because Klecker and Fisher were in a battle, and then there was the battle for third, and it looked like it was going to be Emmanuel Bohr. He had an edge over McGorty. McGorty was closing hard, and then with about 60 or so meters to go, Bohr looks to his right, then his left. He keeps looking, he keeps looking, he keeps looking, and then makes a conscious effort. He moved out. He moved to the outside, sensing someone was coming, and then he wanted to block them. Now, McGorty is coming fast. And so McGorty was probably headed straight to where Bohr was heading. And maybe McGorty watched the tape last year of Chalimo, versus Kincaid and Fisher in the 5,000. McGorty basically Euro stepped inside of him. He cut inside. So the blockade backfired because McGorty cuts inside and then goes past him. And then Bohr trips and falls as well, too. So you have just a lot going on in those final meters. And you could Emmanuel Bohr, if he just doesn't look around and just stays straight, does he have enough to get McGorty? Those are the things that you wonder about. So I'm watching that just because it's fascinating what's going on. Meanwhile, I'm missing Klecker outkicking Fisher in the last 100. So I went back and watched it. It wasn't as if Fisher was out of position and then just got a late start. He has the lead with 100 to go, and Klecker just wore him out. Now, you ask yourself, hey, Grant Fisher is the American record holder, 26:33. Why is he letting this come down to a kick? That's a fair question. And you think he has a chance to run this race again. Maybe he plans that differently. The idea is just to qualify. Maybe that's in his mind as well, too. And probably hoping or probably thinking championship, world championship, it'll go out much more quickly and he'll have the opportunity to grind these guys down. And remember, he finished fifth in the world championship last year. I mean, this is one of the best runners in the world. He's run 26:33. But it was just interesting because it brought back these memories of, you want to see top three. And sometimes you forget about what's developing in front just because you're so interested in like who's going to get those team spots, who's going to get the team spots. Similar thing happened in the women's side of things, and almost to a more extreme example, because Schweizer and Monson were basically 200 meters up on the winner. So this was a little easier because you could basically watch them complete the race, and then the camera cuts, and it's Natasha Rogers versus Emily Enfeld at the 200 to go mark. So it's almost the best of both worlds because you could watch both battles. Now, Schweizer, her kick is back, clearly back from the injury. She was sub 15 second 5K. I mean, looked really good. Monson can close as well, too. Put up a fight there, but Schweizer had that Schweizer speed that we're familiar with. So she's going to make a team again. Monson's going to make a team again. But the drama was that last spot. And Rogers and Enfeld were just shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip the last 100. It was so much fun to watch. And it was interesting just because they had their own stage because the top two had finished. And you're just watching this thing one-on-one, who's going to get it. For a while there, Kaladi was also in the mix, but it came down to Rogers versus Enfeld. And they both have incredible stories, incredible comeback stories. 10 years ago, Natasha Rogers running for Texas A&M finishes in the top 3 of the Olympic trials in the 10,000, but doesn't have the qualifying time, so can't go to the Olympics. It was one of those weird things where it was like the winner plus 6th place and 8th place got to go because of who's had the standard. Like everybody's trying to figure it out as they're running, like which person's in, which person's out. And she didn't have it, so she didn't get to go. And there were some years where she wasn't really running at all. And for her to make a team is a big comeback story. Obviously, we know about Enfeld. We know that she's a world championship medalist. She's had injuries, left Bowerman Track Club. She was Gordon's pick for this race to be an upset, but she was right there. She was right there in position. Um, and it was, I don't know, it was a cool part of track and field just to see people both going for it for that final spot. Enfeld said she's going to come back and try to make it in the 5,000, which adds a new dynamic because of the championships being split this year with the 10 and the 5. Does that does that help her a bit? I mean, I would guess she would get some confidence from this and be in a good be in a good spot to give it another go. And I think a lot of people are going to be cheering for her just based on how close she was in this race. I mean, you watch those final strides. She gave everything she had. Like her legs went out. Both of them were just completely flat out. Again, because two were already in. So everybody in the stadium knew, everybody in the race knew it's one more. And they all had the standards. So all that stuff was fine. It was just 200 to go. These two women battling all the way to the line. And I thought it was really exciting to see. And it was a great contrast after that because then it went into world record mode where the pace lights were 3-0. There were no world records. Nian Saba got close, ran 8:59, number 2 all time. But uh, Gade lost, and Cheptegei ran 12:57. He ran slower than the Open 5K, or not the Open 5K. He ran slower than the Saturday 5K, which was not a record attempt at all. But Aragawi just destroyed everybody with a 12:50. But anything else we missed? I mean,